Hello, babes. Oh my goodness, it's time for the show. Hi. It's been it's been a week, right? It's been a bit of a crazy one. We're gonna at least start out with some chill vibes. Oh my god, my hair is being ridiculous today. We're gonna start out at least with some chill vibes. Probably get into talking about some of the news here in a little bit. Just gonna try to recenter, okay? Recenter, be normal a little bit. OMG, I need that top. Okay, so here's the thing about these tops. Okay, so somebody bought me this off my throne wish list. Thank you so much. Link in the description if anybody wants to check out anything that's on there. Because I will wear it. Here's proof. So the store that these are from on Thrones is like, it's like a Chinese store, right? And I guess I've always noticed that if you buy clothes from China, they are smaller. So like something that's described as a large does not fit me, even though for the most part I am a large in American sizes. So this fits quite nicely actually. It's like actually this is a good one. It's cute. It is a little bit see-through. We have to be careful because like there's these two layers. You can see like the holes and stuff. And this one does correspond with being directly on top of my nipple. So I had to wear a bra or else risk demonetization from the YouTube. So yes, this is a cute one. I did get another one that someone else bought me off my throne wish list. And here's the thing about this. Okay, so this one is supposed to be large, but it does not have any sizing on it. And it's like I had the option to choose small, medium, or large. This does not have a size on it anywhere. And this is very obviously not a large because it's like, okay, just want you to, let me get this all figured out, all the straps here. Come on now, let's get the straps figured out. Okay, so here's this top. Okay, that's how big it is on me. It's black on black, so it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to go ahead and say my boobs look incredible in this, but because this is designed so that these cross over, it's like a halter top thing. It's like these are supposed to, you're supposed to pull it over your head and then they cross like this. It chokes me out. Like legitimately, I'm like in the way that, you know that when you do choking in a sexual sense, it's not really about the breath. It's about like slightly restricting the blood flow. You shouldn't do it anyway. It's dangerous. So that's kind of what happens when I'm wearing that thing. It kind of like, so I'm going to have to, adjust it or wear it differently or something. I tried to like wear it and check it out and it's just like, wow. So I might end up taking the top of the straps, just like take it with my seam ripper and pull it apart and then put like a different piece of fabric in there to make it a little bit longer. I don't know what to do, but it squishes my boobs together. And then there's like a boob window in here, which again, I don't know if that's allowed on YouTube, but maybe we'll try it one of these days. I don't know. So I'm just saying, if you want to get anything from Rags and Rituals, I think is the name of the store, beware that they're only for the skinniest of people. And if you are an average size American person, you will probably not succeed in finding clothes that fit you there. When clothes are euphoric in the worst way. Yeah. And this one has like a tie on the side. So it's a little bit adjustable in that way. So yeah. Looking cute, looking very cute. Thank you to whoever bought it for me. I'm not going to check right now on my throne wish list, but thank you so much. My Monday morning radio while I game. Hope things are going well for you in, what would it, if it's Monday morning. Are you in Australia? Like seven hours ago tomorrow? Is that how I remember what Australia is? By average-sized American person, do you mean obese? No, because I'm referring to myself. Like, I'm like an average-sized American person with my height and weight. Like, I think that by some technical standards, I'm bordering on being overweight. But, I mean, I'm just like, if you feel like you're a size large in American sizes, I guarantee you're not a size large in Chinese clothing because it's just size totally different. Anyway, lots of people in the YouTube chat today. Hello, YouTube chat. There's Squirrel Knitter, Trans Unfiltered, Canadian Goose, Honk Honk, Melissa. We got Nikki. There's Chaos Gremlin. Emma. Hello, Emma. We got Jess. There's Matt. Hello. Shell, yeah. Nice. And of course, the website chat. If you're interested, this over here is my website chat. It is where you can set your pronouns, and if you use the subscribe feature, which is like $5 a month, you can get a green name, or you can pay more and get a purple name, etc. I'm sure they allow windows on YouTube. Yeah, am I allowed to have the boob window? It really squished them together, which I guess also tells you that the whole shirt is very small, because mine are very far apart from each other in the middle, so if they're getting squished together, then they're really getting squished. Aotearoa. Okay. I was like, definitely in the time zone. I was like, okay, Australia, Aotearoa, they're quite similar in time zones. How many time zones are there in Australia? It just occurs to me to wonder. But anyway, yes, I wanted to prove, if you buy me something off my wish list, I will wear it so long as it freaking fits. Is it called a glory window? I thought it was called a boob window. Just the boob window. Like, what? There's like a superhero woman who has, like, she wears a white outfit and she's got the boob window. Anyway. There's Faulty. We got Mabs. We got M. Psychoplebalian. Dorian Gray. Or, sorry, Dorian Gay. Psh, my mistake. OMG. What is going on? That's a great question. What the fuck is going on? I mean, yeah. As usual, I've been on social media more than I wanted to be this week, and that, I'm sure, has not been feeling good for any of you. I've been on Threads a little bit, and that's mostly for work. I'm just like, I'll like bait people. I'm like, hey, let me see if I can get some people to follow me over here to my stream, and I have people on Threads just straight up call you the R word. Are we noticing this? I don't know if anybody else is on Threads. I avoided it for a really long time, and I really don't give a shit about being on Threads. Again, it's just for work. Literally, oh my God, look at this. I just opened it to see, well, let me just check this. Literally, someone 12 minutes ago just come out and just say that you are retarded. Okay. Oh, there's another one calling me the R word from 19 minutes ago. Damn. Oh, there's somebody called me the F slur. That's an interesting. I didn't know that you were allowed to do that on Threads. Anyway, that's fun. I was trying to bait people to be shitty to me. I posted just a big, like, I'm trans, non-binary, queer, vaxxed, disabled, COVID-conscious, anti-racist, pro-Palestine, humanist, atheist. And then I replied to it and was like, and I stream later today at Luxander. Whatever, fucking, if anybody wants to hang out. Yeah. This person says, so in response to all the things that I said, I'm trans, non-binary, queer, vaxxed, disabled, they put, you're gay, 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 gay. Like, damn. Yeah, absolutely. Oh. Anyway, that's fun. Oh, there's another one. Arsler from 20. Yeah, okay. From 20 minutes ago. Dang. So Threads is a fun place to be. Someone told me that it has very, like, 2016 to 2018 Twitter vibes, and I would say that that's accurate. Yeah, Threads is Twitter too, but with less grok, for sure. I only use Blue Sky. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I use Blue Sky for my own personal enjoyment. So, I mean, really the reason why I started using Threads is because Jimmy said that it was a good place for him to bait people to call when we have call-in shows. And obviously I don't do that here. But, I don't know. Should we sometimes, like, does it, I don't know. I would have to ask, maybe I would check in with, like, Jovan or something and see, like, how do you take calls? Because, obviously we have the call-in studio set up. Whoa, that's one of my white hairs. Look at how long that is. Ooh, I love it when my white hairs start to get long. Damn, I'm gay for being vaccinated. True. I just got vaccinated on Thursday. I got one in this arm and one in this arm, COVID and flu vaccine. So we're super vaxxed. I'm so used to people calling things gay as a good thing that I don't often pick up on it when it's supposed to be an insult. Yeah. I call things gay usually like when okay, most of the time when I say that's gay, it's when Jimmy is fawning over his girlfriend. And I think they're both queer. So I just kind of like, gay? Like, I don't know. It's just funny to me. Pretty sure Jovan uses the same system. Does he use Call In Studio? Because you got to pay for it. And I'm not going to pay for it. You should definitely do your own call-in shows occasionally when you feel like it. Jovan uses CIS. Ugh. Oh, I don't want to. But I don't know another way to do it. I know some people use, like, Discord, but I don't know. Yeah, all these people sound very friendly on Threads. Yep. Very different vibe of a stream if doing live call-ins. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I would change the title of the stream to, like, trans call-in stream or something like that. I don't know. Every bait word that triggers the far right. Yeah. And I used the radical, what is it? Radical leftist scum. Like, I don't know what they're called. They're like subcategories or something, like searchable categories on Threads. I don't know what it's called, but oh, somebody messaged me on Threads. Okay, shut the fuck up. I hate it when something pops up like, hey, let me tell you more about the website. And I'm like, I know how fucking DMs work. Welcome to the trans stream. We're streaming all trans time. True. Is that the LP 8.1 for COVID vax? I do not know. It's whatever one is most recently available. They don't like offer up information. When I went to get my vaccine, I was like, oh, out of curiosity, is this Pfizer or Moderna? And she was like, it's Pfizer. That's the only one we carry. And I was like, okay. But otherwise, I wouldn't have known. I don't even know which one went in which arm because she wasn't really like talking me through the process, but it was fine. I'm just glad that I fucking got it done and it didn't. I was going to be like, I didn't have to pay $200 for the COVID vaccine, but I did pay $500 for the privilege of having health insurance for the month of January. So, but I have a doctor's appointment on Tuesday to talk about my POTS and other stuff and hopefully start getting some diagnostics figured out with that. It's a trans stream. That's true. Jovan started with just a Google Voice number. You can use Discord or use StreamYard Green Rooms. Lots of free options. I do know, I understand the ease of using Call In Studio because you can just be like, call, you know. I guess, and then you just have to rely on the auto screener and fucking hope for the best. And just be ready to hang up on somebody if they're going to start dropping the N-word or something. I don't know. And the only reason why I'm thinking about it is because I do a call-in show regularly, and it's like, ooh, what kind of calls, what kind of quality of calls would I be getting if I did it on my own? I don't know. I like the chill vibes that we have, though. So even if I did start doing call-in shows of my own, it would need to be maybe only one of the 2 streams per week, or maybe only a couple times per month to preserve the feeling of, you know, we're having chill vibes time. We're trying to enjoy each other's company. Just use the lines in off hours and don't tell Jimmy. You know, that would work, except that they're always streaming at any time that I'm streaming. Like, okay, right now, Matt Dillahunty is streaming. I guess after Matt is done, they switch to the Jimmy Snow show. So I guess starting in like a half an hour, I could just cop the lines number. I'm not going to do that. That would be inappropriate. But yeah, that would be funny. Jovan started with a Google Voice and a dream. listen, I want to make a joke about that being a little bit racist because, and I'm just joking, but like Martin Luther King, like I have a dream. Like, oh, so you're saying the black guy? No, I'm just kidding. Anyway. Considering the chat trolls when you're on Takas or other shows, I feel like you would get some nasty calls. I mean, yeah, but I can always like just hang up on people. Volunteer screeners aren't hard to train. That's true. But then we're taking my chill, hangout, relaxed vibes stream, and we're making it very much a more produced thing. And like, meh. Why don't you go for something different? Could be a good feel-good line for LGBT people to share their good news for the week. That sounds like a nightmare. And I love you all, but wow, that would be terrible. Like, it's one of the things that I dislike about Takis, that we end up getting so many calls from people who just want to chat or just want advice. I'm like, I don't actually like sharing my airtime very much. And so I guess the idea of having an adversarial call-in show is like, I can interrupt that person, I can mute that person, whatever. And that's different than trying to have a polite conversation where you're like, you don't want to interrupt the other person, and there's like a social nicety where maybe you feel like you're ready to move on, but the other person is clearly still engaged in the conversation. And like, I care about being rude to people who are nice to me. So like, okay, this is part of why I don't invite people on my show, because I don't want to have to deal with any of that social stuff. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Is this the autism? Is the R word? Are they correct? Were they right? Were the people in my phone right that about me being redacted? Yeah, dude, that's so true. The chat trolls, they rarely call in. They want to mauled in the chat, and then they get muted for 24 hours, and then they come back at a different show and they mauled more, and they never call in. That's the joke Jovan would make. Okay, listen. I figure it's different for him to make the joke, because he's one of those. I'm joking. Oh my God. Please don't cancel me. I grew up around black people, like a lot of black people. And so it's like weird for me now to be like, I'm in a group of mostly white people in my work environment. And like, genuinely it's so, and like where I live, there's not very many black people, and it's weird. So it's like the comfort of relaxing back into being around minorities, but like still wanting to be sensitive about the fact that I'm white, you know, like, listen, I really like Jovan though. I like how he like takes the piss, you know, he's very quick to make a joke. He takes being made fun of well. Like, I don't remember what exactly it was said, but when we did our stream last week, he said something about me being trans, and I was like, you're giving more trans vibes than I am with those fucking ears, like the cat ear headphones. And he seemed to think that that was funny. So that is important to me. What the heck? It didn't tell me you started streaming. Y'all always got to double, triple check your notification settings. I know that YouTube sometimes likes to yank those things around. So when you click the bell, when you subscribe and then you click the bell, there is an option within the bell that's like, what kind of notifications do you want? And I think it defaults to personalized notifications, which means it will decide when to tell you about things, as opposed to if you click all, then it will give you all notifications. Now that might get annoying for people who upload frequently, which I don't. And also a lot of the times if I upload shorts, I don't necessarily I don't have it notify subscribers, because I know if you're uploading a lot of shorts, but I also don't upload a lot of shorts anymore. For a bit, I was doing 2 per day for like several months, and that would have been crazy to get that many notifs, but not so much now. Oh no, Mabs. Have a good nap. That sucks having your meds yanked around. Jovan is still talking about the too pretty for the chair line. You both made an impression on the other. Yes. That was very funny. If you missed it, Jovan was like, "Oh, I call myself a leftist cuck. I don't know about you, Lux." And I was like, "I mean, I'm too hot to be sitting in the chair, but well, I'm glad. I'm glad that we both are enthusiastic about each other's company. That's wonderful." Why are we talking about sex on the YouTube on the sorry, not the YouTube, on my website chat? We're talking about sex all of a sudden. Banana says, I've literally never gotten a single personalized notification on YouTube. Every single one I get is for channels I have set to all. So it's selective. Maybe it's because you're getting a lot of notifications from the other channels or something. And so it just decides not to send you any personalized one. I don't know. That's very strange though. Oh my goodness. Quantum says it's no secret I grew up a shitty racist, and part of that comes from growing up in a town that was legitimately 100% white. The first time I ever saw a black person, I asked my mom why there were chocolate people. Ooh, that is such an egregious lack of responsibility on your parents' part. Like to just be like, you in movies, you should have seen a movie. I mean, maybe it was a movie that you first saw a black person in, but like, that's part of your educating your child to be like, hey, look, sometimes people have white hair, sometimes people have big scraggly eyebrows, sometimes people have different color skin. Like, good gracious. I've been thinking about parenting a lot lately because I think I want to be one. I mean, I'm pretty sure that I would like to be one. I don't know if my life circumstances, I mean, I already am one. I adopted my younger sibling, but it's a totally different thing being like, I'm like I would have probably described myself as basically child free, and then going like, oh shit, I have to adopt my younger sibling because they're going to be totally fucked if I don't. And so then I just suddenly had a 17-year-old that I was educating and taking care of in my life. And now I'm like, oh, what if I wanted to have a baby though? So I'm learning more about parenting in that context now of like, when you start from scratch and you build up from there. I've given up trying to figure out how YouTube decides to show content to people. I had my most successful live stream of all time last week, and it was actual BS, just me driving around in the snow. You kind of just have to keep throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, you know? Like, I think that I'm in a place now where momentum is building. Like, I've been posting regularly enough, and I'm getting just enough subscribers from the line that, you know, when I post a video now, it catches on a little bit easier. And even on my second channel, it seems as though, you know, like my avatar video did really well. Oh my gosh, I'm so close to getting to 40,000 subscribers on this channel. I'm so excited. I just have to keep doing it on at least a weekly basis, like upload at least one video a week, which I might end up running out of content before too long on that. And then on Musing Moss, I have 1,378 subscribers, and my most recent video, the one about Avatar Fire and Ash, got 2.5 thousand views. Thank you everybody who's been clocking into that. That's my second most viewed video, next to my Will Ferrell, Will and Harper movie review, which got 2.6 thousand views. So 2.4 and 2.6. And those are cool because I'd love to have a separate channel where I can just talk about movies and bullshit and, you know, just kind of get my feelings out there. So, yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to watch White Chicks, and that's going to be kind of the next one that I upload that's a fresh one. I basically still have 3 videos from before that are my mirrors that I need to re-upload. So I don't know if I'm going to, I don't know. I put a lot of work into the Dragon Smasher Pass intro video, but it's scripted, and I'm not going to script my videos over there. So, or maybe I'll rarely do a scripted video, but I feel like it's just difficult for me to stick to a strict script, so I don't know. I'm just undecided. I feel like maybe I should get several Dragon Smasher Pass videos ready before I start uploading the intro and stuff, so maybe I'll just sit on that one for a little while. My True Blood video I need to re-upload. My I Saw the TV Glow review I need to re-upload. And this one where I'm talking about the Hunger Games, I probably just won't re-upload that one because it doesn't really matter. But so things are going well over there. How far am I from getting monetized over here? So Musing Moss, I have the number of subscribers that I need to get monetized. Oh, so by the way, if you see ads on a Musing Moss video, I'm sorry, but I don't have control over them. So if they're intrusive or anything, I literally can't change anything about those settings. YouTube is going to make money off of that and not do any ad sharing with me until I get to 4,000 watch hours. So where am I at right now? My current public watch hours is 1.1 thousand. So I need 3,000 more watch hours. So the cumulative amount of time that people are sitting there watching my videos. I need 3,000 more before I get into the partner program and can start directly monetizing on the ad revenue for my videos on the second channel. So that's been fun though. Like I said, I want to watch White Chicks because I think it would just be a fun little goofy thing, and it would give me a chance to talk about Marlon Wayans' trans kid and the process that parents have to go through when their kids come out as trans and stuff. Thank you. YouTuber Grudge with the $20 super chat says, for your channel, hello all. Thank you. That's very kind. I do count super chats in the donation goal for the day, despite the fact that YouTube does not give me that money until next month, and they also take like 30% of it. So if you want to donate directly to me, luxander.net/donate is usually the best way, but I still very much appreciate the super chats. They do help, and I do get it eventually. The amount of people going to Jovan's stream and saying stuff about his headphones is nuts. The right hates whimsy and fun, I guess. I mean, I do think that is, like, definitionally one of the things about being a conservative in today's day and age. Like, I think that... I mean... This kind of ties into the serious stuff that we've been talking about recently. Like, I have seen a ton of analysis and speculation around Renee Good and, like, her wife and, you know, at what point the officer decided to become violent and, like, escalate the situation. And I do think part of it is this kind of... Ooh, oh my goodness.
Faulty Branch has got a tier 3 subscription. Was going to bump this up a tier, but purple is too good to pass up.
Thank you for the tier 3 sub, which is a $20 sub, I believe. Thank you so much. Yes, purple is too good to pass up. I love the purple. It brings things together. Thank you so much. Let me add that to the thing before I forget. That's going to bring it up to 40 for today. And there's nothing in, I don't think there's anything in the treasure chest today, so I'm just going to do muscles. My very unimpressive muscles that I have not been working on. Dude, I've been trying to do crunches recently, and wow, I am out of shape. But we're working on it. What was I in the middle of saying? Okay, I don't remember what I was saying. That's okay. I got a 3-month. Oh, okay. What is that? It's like, come on, PayPal. Give me the notification, PayPal. Because I think that's like 50... I want to say it's like $52 if you do 3 months all at once. I need to get back into shape. Yeah, literally. I am working on the CHOP protocol. 45, okay. I'm working on the CHOP protocol, and I picked a doctor who he said on his thing that, like, for him, exercise is a really important thing for keeping his patients healthy. And so I'm like, okay, this guy is going to understand that me having exercise intolerance is a problem that I need to resolve. And like, I hope that he respects the fact that I am literally trying to exercise, not every day, 5 days a week, in the capacity that I'm capable of doing so. So it's hugely important to me. That brings us up to $65 for today. There we go. I have a criticism of atheism. Okay, babe. Thank you for letting me know that you were about to give me a criticism before just giving me the criticism. I appreciate that. Adopting a relative in a crisis is different from adopting a child infant who is no longer in or never was in crisis. Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Thank you, Fuzzy Logic. I've run through all the Musing Moss videos on repeat a couple of times to boost the watch hours. Babes, you're the real ones. Thank you so much. That is a quick, easy, not quick, easy, I guess, but it's an easy and free way to support me is just like watch the videos. So thank you. OMG, that's so kind. Beyond says, a tornado throws a tree at me and takes off my front bumper, and I get like 10 viewers versus a random snowstorm in a place that regularly gets snow, 400 concurrent viewers. That's funny. Oh, I was saying, we were talking about fun and how the right seems to just fucking hate people who are trying to be relaxed and have fun. So, one of the last comments that was made to Jonathan Ross before he shot Renee Good in the face 3 times was that Renee's wife, whose name I cannot remember right this second, and I feel really bad for that because she deserves to be acknowledged in this. She said something like, go get some lunch, bro, or like go make a sandwich or something like that. And it was like the easygoing nature of them and like the fact that they were having fun at his expense a little bit, or that anyone was having fun at his expense. Not that I don't know that Renee was specifically. She was just like, it's okay, dude, I'm not mad at you. But I mean, that kind of did seem like, I mean, you're trying to take the teeth out of the fascism by kind of joking around with them, right? Or like joking at their expense a little bit or like making fun of them. So I do think that this is like fascists want to be taken seriously. Go get lunch, big boy. Yeah, that's what the quote was. I do think that conservatives don't like levity. Like for them, like they think that men shouldn't be playful with their children. They think that they need to be militaristic. They need to be serious. They shouldn't be emotionally intimate with their wives. They need to bottle everything up. They go to work. It's very serious, very serious. We've got very serious things to do. And of course, fascists want to be taken seriously. So it does kind of seem like there is an ideological analysis that could be made around why specifically conservatives are so against fun, like that they're so against the idea of, I mean, I don't want to say fun is like at the root of any one particular ideology, but I do think that ease is at the root of a socialist ideology. Like the idea that people should be able to work but not overwork, and the idea that people should be able to relax, and the idea that people should live in communities where we share values with one another and our children are safe outside and we can go for a walk and not worry about getting accosted or attacked. Like, I do think that ease is directly opposed to a conservative / fascist ideology. So maybe that's where the kind of tie-in comes, where like fun is part of ease, and a lot of fascists tend to think like it's that thing where they're like, oh, hard times breed hard men, easy times breed soft men, blah, 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 blah. Like they believe that life should be hard and that being an artist or being a philosopher or being a poet is like a sign of weakness or is bad for society or bad for humanity in some way. I need to get back into a shape. I've been incorporeal for too long. True. It's the Puritan streak in American Protestant Christianity. Fun is not allowed. Yeah, I could see that. What's this about breeding hard men? Yeah. Versus like, what's the quote? Dude, it's a John Adams quote. John Adams. Go, swear to fucking God, I need you to shut your fucking face. Is this for work? Or does this text have anything to do with work? No, this text doesn't have anything to do with work. Please get out of my face. Turned on notifications for some things on my phone recently, and I am deeply regretful. Anyway, there's the John Adams quote that's like, I must study politics and war so that our sons may have the liberty to study mathematics and philosophy, and our sons ought to study mathematics and philosophy. Our sons ought to study mathematics and philosophy, geography, natural history, and naval architecture, navigation, commerce, and agriculture in order to give their children a right to study painting, poetry, music, architecture, statuary, tapestry, and porcelain. And like, I get it, like, fuck the founding fathers for a lot of things, but that quote I think is really important. Like, it starts with the science of government. It is my duty to study more than all other sciences. The arts of legislation and administration and negotiation ought to take the place of, indeed exclude in a manner, all other arts. I must study politics and war that our sons may have the opportunity or the liberty to study mathematics and philosophy, etc. And I do think that that is kind of like what society is for. Like, why would it be a bad thing if our children have the freedom, the liberty, as it were, to pursue that which they find most fulfilling? Like, why is it that we have to impart upon our children survival skills rather than, you know, being able to do stuff that it just brings them fulfillment and like makes life better for people? I don't know. Please get out of my face, Lux the irritable introvert. True. I cannot tell you how often I want to say get out of my face. And I don't say it very often. Sometimes in the comments of my videos, I'm like, please get out of my face. But yeah, that's like me responding to my phone vibrating. I'm like, get out of my face. Stop talking to me. Leave me alone. Anyway, someone asked me something in the YouTube chat, and I will take the small amount of effort to scroll up and see what the fuck you're asking me for. Fun doesn't have rules. Conservatives need structure and rules in order to know what to do. Fair. That's fair. Okay, so this person said, I have a problem with atheism, and they start by saying, by insisting that atheism is nothing, atheists effectively exempt themselves from having to provide a positive alternative. Okay, well, no atheists are saying that, so what's your next criticism? Because atheists will say atheism itself is only the conclusion that there is no God. And most atheists do have another identity, such as secular humanist, where they do posit a specific ideology. Like, you realize, like, atheists, like, okay, so atheism is just one position. Christianity, if you say I'm a Christian, then technically there are like a lot of different beliefs enshrined in that word, where like we could infer that that means like this person believes in having empathy for other people, and this person believes in, like, so not only do they believe that Jesus and God are the same thing, but there also are like a bunch of teachings. You might assume that they follow the Bible. You might assume a lot of other things. Atheism is only saying I do not believe in God. So that is not saying atheism is nothing. That's just saying atheists don't believe in God. Most of the time, atheists have other identities that loop in and inform you about their other beliefs, right? So if I say I'm a secular humanist, okay, that means that I believe that humanity only has one shot at living a life and We should make sure that it's as little suffering as possible taking place in that. My political affiliation, like saying I'm a leftist or saying I'm a Democrat, which I'm not, but saying I'm a Democrat would communicate to you like I have a lot of other beliefs. So like if you say I'm a Democrat, you're like probably in support of limiting the power of corporations. You probably, most people who identify as Democrats anyway, are like, they believe that there should be a welfare state and there should be social programs, okay? Like atheism itself only means I don't believe in God. So that like, but that's literally like not the only thing we say. And I think that you are listening to the wrong people, or like maybe you're being deliberately absurd and reductionist if you think that that is the only thing that atheists ever talk about or advocate for, is like saying that we don't believe in God. Anti-theists, which I would consider myself an anti-theists, are against the presence of religion in broader society in terms of like we should not be making laws based on religion or whatever. So it's like only one part of what we do. And now I'm going to scroll back down because I'm done responding to that initial comment that you made. When I said nothing, I meant the position that it's simply a lack of belief. Well, it literally is. But also, most atheists also identify as a humanist or a materialist or a socialist. So, like, we have other belief systems. It's just that the word atheism literally only means I don't believe in God. Atheist, not theist. That's all it means. So, like, we are most of the time not letting the conversation stop there. I, in fact, find arguing about theism fucking boring. Dude, there is nothing that will make me check out when I'm producing. Like when a Bible conversation starts to happen, I'm like, oh my God, I don't care about this. I will literally, I'm still listening to what's going on my work computer, but I'll switch to my main computer and be like, let me start editing a video for me to upload this week because I don't fucking care about the Bible. Like, it's just not, it's not fun for me. It's like, I would much rather talk about other things, like how do we make life better for people? And so like when I see your goofy ass earlier said something about like, what, so you don't believe murder is wrong? Like, hold on, let me scroll up to see what you say on this, because you responded to Lady Addis. What did Lady Addis say? Okay, I don't know what exactly Lady Addis said that made you go with your goofy ass self and ask, like, do you think that murder isn't wrong, that murder isn't morally wrong? The thing is that atheists have a belief in morality that actually is more grounded than the Christian belief in morality. Because here's the thing. I believe that killing children is wrong. In all situations. If there's a whole ass human being who's a child and you kill them, I cannot imagine a situation in which that's not wrong. I mean, if we're doing a life-saving surgery that holds a risk of killing the child and we do the life-saving surgery and the child dies during surgery because of complications of anesthesia, that's a complicated situation where we were trying our best to help someone and bad things happen anyway. God kills children. So Christians cannot be morally consistent on the killing children thing, because either you believe that killing children is always wrong and therefore God is immoral for killing children, or you are morally flexible enough to agree that that killing children can sometimes be a good thing because God did it. Like that killing children is good when God does it. So like my morality is based in human needs and human well-being and not on what the random book from 2,000 years ago says. There's 100 people here. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. Things are still crazy out there in the world, and we're kind of flowing in and out of subjects. So if there's anything in particular, if there's some news that has happened and you want me to touch on it, all you have to do is mention it in the chat, and it's likely that I'll check it out. Someone said that there was a second shooting in Minneapolis. which I haven't heard of that. So obviously there's things happening. The news is crazy. Oh, did anybody hear about something happening in Tennessee where the state government of Tennessee is going to start trying to work with ICE more directly and like possibly start implementing this quote door-to-door thing that JD Vance said, like, which by the way, that's against your Fourth Amendment. Hold on, let me double check. Let me read to you the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America. There was another shooting in Portland. Oh, I'm familiar with the shooting in Portland. 2 people were shot in Portland when they were trying to escape from ICE in their vehicle. And I don't think that there was a video of that incident, but there was a witness who said, like, these people were panicking and trying to escape, and they very clearly did not try to hit an ICE agent, but that is, or it was CBP maybe, CBP, Customs and Border Patrol, CBP. Yeah, anyway, the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution of the United States says, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So what this means is, if someone shows up to your door and they knock, 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 and they say, we want to search the property, you say, no, I do not consent to search the property. Do you have a judicial warrant? And then they can slide the warrant under your door. If it is an I-200 form, that is not a judicial warrant. It needs to say at the top of the page, like, this is a judicial warrant. On the bottom right of the page, it needs to be signed by a judge. And it needs to specify, it needs to describe, this is the address that we are entering. Your address needs to be on the form. And it needs to specify what they are looking for, which means that, like, yeah, it needs to be a signed hard copy warrant, and it's like, it needs to be very particular. They need to be looking for something specific. There is no, we're going to search your place and see if you're doing anything wrong. They need to be like, we have this specific thing. Like, they care about a warrant. Well, the thing is that, like, what I'm saying is, you don't have to open the door. And you shouldn't. For the love of fucking Christ, don't open the door. If somebody comes knocking and it's like, it could be anyone armed or anything. So, and the thing is that if they don't have a warrant, and if you say, I do not consent to any searches, I do not consent to you entering the property, and they do enter the property, check your local laws on castle doctrine. Because that would be an illegal entry. And if they don't have the right documentation, then you don't know if these are actual ICE agents or if this is just someone with a costume on. Yeah, you have to say, I do not consent to a search. You have to say, I do not consent to a search. I do not consent to questioning. I do not consent to you entering my home. No, it was JD Vance. Or, I mean, maybe Stephen Miller did too, but JD Vance for sure. I saw a video. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Yeah. And so you don't have to open the door, and you also don't have to continue talking to them. If you say, I do not consent to you entering my home, and then you ask them, do you have a judicial warrant? If they don't provide you with a warrant, just stop talking to them. If you're not a goofy ass, then why are you asking goofy ass questions like, do you think that murder is moral? Be serious. There's serious shit happening right now. Like, are you either you're goofy or you're stupid? Like, what are you doing? You can also tell them they don't have permission to remain on your property. Even police can't just hang out on your yard without permission or a warrant. Yeah. It's going to be scary in the coming weeks. I'm actually quite fascinated that there hasn't already been a pretty aggressive escalation. I know that there are a lot of ICE agents in Minneapolis at the time of this presentation, but oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm burpy. I would assume that, like, what I was expecting was a severe crackdown. What I was kind of expecting, like, this is where the widespread violence against any and all protesters is going to engage. Mostly I see lots of peaceful protests. Please tell me if there's anywhere I should be looking to see, you know, if there's anything I'm missing. Like, have ICE agents been starting to escalate violence against protesters? That's what I was expecting to happen right now. I think they're really frightened of popping the lid off the pot. I mean, we can kind of hope, I guess. Is there any such thing as an ICE agent who is afraid of retaliation from the people? I don't actually know. The theory I heard is that most of the ICE agents are in Minneapolis at the moment, so they can't do this anywhere else right now. Well, I mean, even in Minneapolis, like, I'm saying in Minneapolis, in the same way that we had all these giant protests around George Floyd's murder, I was expecting, like, we're going to have a huge swell of protesters who are going to be more agitated than they've ever been. Because holy shit, if you think white people will show up and be pissed off about George Floyd, they're going to be way more pissed off and show up for a white woman. So, and like, well, a white woman victim is more sympathetic to a larger group of people. So I was expecting, like, okay, there's going to be a huge, way more agitated crowd around this, and that they're going to start violently putting that down. ICE agents have changed tactics and have been all over the place, hitting across the state surrounding the metro areas. Still within Minneapolis as well, but they're all over the place, just hitting places randomly. I don't know what that means, hitting places randomly. Do you mean, like, targeting employees of places? Like, I don't, like, what does hitting mean? It's much more difficult to have sustained organizing outside with how cold it's been. Sure, okay, that's fair. Quiet and intense has been the feeling I'm catching around South Minneapolis. Okay. Faulty says they have escalated direct threats by unholstering and pointing their sidearms or even rifles at protesters. We are pretty well practiced with dealing with Minneapolis Police Department and the National Guard, and the work done in Portland has helped teach people where are the lines that we can push. Okay. I did see that video. Like, the guy, what was the firearm he had in his hands already? Was it a less lethal round, maybe? And there was a protester wearing a mask, like, a few feet in front of him, and he pulled out his sidearm and pointed it directly at that person's face, and then put the sidearm back in its holster. So, like, it's curious to see, is this, like, again, my assumption was that this was going to embolden them to just start being much more violent. ICE has been combing through holiday gas stations in my neighborhood. Okay. So yeah, just they're doing the same thing that they've already been doing, just around the Minneapolis area. Like, I know that this was happening in Chicago, where there were parts of Chicago that would get temporarily shut down because they were, like, blocking off the streets and hitting all the businesses in that block. Fuzzy Logic makes a great point that if you are arrested, you have to affirmatively assert your 5th and 6th Amendment rights. Say the words, "I am invoking my right to remain silent. I want a lawyer," and then shut up. The Supreme Court says that if you continue speaking to police, then it counts as waiving your rights. Same if your requests aren't clear. Like, maybe I should speak to a lawyer versus I want you to provide me a lawyer. Yeah. And don't say something like, I would rather you not come in to the ICE agents if they knock at your door. Don't say, I would rather not. You need to be clear and assertive. I do not consent. I am invoking my right to remain silent. I will not answer questions. I want a lawyer. Like, you have to be very clear and direct. Remember the guy who had his ability to get a lawyer denied because he said the word dog? Like, he was black and he was like, give me a lawyer, dog. And it's like, okay, does anybody fucking think that he meant give me a lawyer, dog? Like the kind of law practicing golden retriever. So, yeah, you got to be very clear and direct about these things. They've been enforcing all over the place. I mean, at Targets, Walmarts, and other stores. They've been in towns farther away from the Twin Cities. Still all over the Twin Cities. Okay, so they're escalating their enforcement activities, quote unquote, by being all around Minneapolis. Lots of people that I didn't think would be enraged by this are actively out at the vigil, checking in with their neighbors, asking how they can connect for rapid response, etc. Yeah, it's crazy out here. Scruff McGruff's partner in the DA's office. Law and Order, Pound Edition. True. Lady Addis says some of the ICE agents are CBP BORTAC, Border Tactical Units, so think federal SWAT team. Do not mess with the BORTAC units. They are very much trained for violence. I mean, I think all of these people are trained for violence, but I see you're saying that, like, they are more effectively trained probably, and probably have more gear. Melissa says, not gonna lie, I think they're actively trying to get actual riots started so Trump can push martial law and lockdown. Yeah, but, like, wouldn't they be instigating more than they are now? Because, like, they could be instigating more than they are now. I'm not saying I want them to, obviously. It's just like I said, I just expected more. And perhaps it just is because it's fucking winter in Minnesota. And obviously Minnesotans know that it's so slippery on the ice, and, like, maybe they're pulling back some of their tactics. But if you're not from Minnesota, girl, you do not know. There's a reason I didn't move there when I was leaving Kansas. Like, I'm not trying to fall on my ass every winter. I'm not trying to freeze my ass off every winter. I think there have been mixed signals from command. Perhaps. Yeah. Maybe they've been told to hold off since they're not quite ready. Maybe they're being told to cool things down a little bit so that they, I don't know, like, is Trump preparing to send in more additional forces? Like, I don't know. Ooh. It has been somewhat cathartic to see these guys fail ass at navigating Minnesota winter, and this isn't even a particularly bad winter. Yeah, I did see footage earlier of a ICE agent or CBP or somebody, like, slipping and just falling on his ass. Like, yeah. That's pretty great. The slapstick, you can imagine the like it's like a Scooby-Doo sound effect. They're sending in more ice. Yeah. Fuzzy says, if agents insist on violating your rights, such as entering your home illegally, it's often better to just stand back and let them illegally enter and search while you or a bystander records it, then let your lawyer sort it out. Obviously, that won't stop the Derek Chauvins of the world, but it's usually better not to argue at the scene and give them an excuse to escalate. Yeah, I mean, you can't be an effective American citizen protesting police brutality if you are a dead citizen. So don't die, but do make them beat your door in if they're like, don't just let them in, is what I'm saying. Like, if you say, I do not consent to you entering the premises, I do not consent to a search. If they beat your shit down, then I guess probably the best thing to do is to not freak out. But, like, I don't know, man. What I'm hoping for... Oh, hold on, wait. Seems like there are more ICE agents than there are Minneapolis and St. Paul police combined, and they want to send even more. What Faulty is hoping for, but not holding the breath on, is that the National Guard gets mobilized to protect residents. I mean, yeah, so I kind of understand from the position of the state or even city governments that they don't want to escalate things. But at the same time, like, what the fuck is the National Guard for? If not to protect citizens from being killed by an occupying army. Like, just because it's our occupying army, like our in the loosest sense that, like, they are federal agents, like, is just the appearance of having a bunch of police standing protecting a crowd of protesters, or the National Guard protecting protesters, like, are they trying to avoid some kind of optics nightmare of some sort? Like, I think that would be an appropriate response from the state government. Ooh, I just gleeked a little bit. That was gross. I do think that it would be an appropriate response from the state government to be like, yeah, we're going to deploy the National Guard to make sure to keep the crowds safe and to keep Border Patrol agents from, like, sticking their guns in the faces of our citizens. Is there some legal reason that I don't understand why that isn't happening right now? It seems like Kristi Noem is surging the number of ICE piggies in Minneapolis with a few hundred more of them. Yeah, that does not surprise me. Lady Addis says, we've fired many of the older agents and bureaucrats that they thought weren't loyal to Trump, so they've lost institutional knowledge and leaders within the organization. That would not surprise me either. Love this top. Thank you. Someone got this for me on my throne wish list, which is still in the description below. But it's cute. It's super cute. It's a little bit see-through, so I had to wear a bra. But it's a cute one. Thank you. Let me double check who got it for me now that I'm settled in here. Who got this for me? Also, shout out to the other person who got me the halter top thing. That is too small, and I bought a large. Like, I had large on there, and it was, I don't know why, but it's like choking me out every time I try to wear it. Solomon Kane is the one who got me this shirt. Thank you so much. And thank you as well to Ray, who got me the other one. I'm sorry I'm not wearing it today. It does make my boobs look great, but it also makes me feel like I'm gonna die. So I can't wear it unless I adjust it. If the National Guard was called in, Trump would likely say, well, I clearly need to consolidate the Guard. They're being used as agents of rebellion. Yeah. And he would basically say the U.S. Army is a federal force. They should be working with ICE, ergo we now have a reason to invoke martial law. Yeah, it's just like, it seems like they're going to do that anyway. So I just feel like we're fucked no matter what we do. I saw a really interesting post the other day from somebody who was an ex-convict who was saying like he knew someone who was running away from a police officer or other enforcement agent, and the agent tripped and twisted his ankle while this person was running away, and that person was charged with felony assault of an officer because that officer wouldn't have twisted his ankle if it weren't for the fact that he was chasing the suspect. So and this also kind of reminds me of like the idea that if you are raped and you try to get an abortion and you are charged with murder, like if it becomes a murder charge to have an abortion, then what reason would there be for a woman to not just kill her rapist? Like if she's going to get a murder charge regardless. So just like this guy was just saying, you know, if you're going to catch an assault charge and you didn't even touch someone, it kind of removes any incentive to not lay hands. I'm just reporting what he said. And he was saying this is just an idea. Like, what purpose is there in being restrained, or what purpose is there in running away if you can still catch a felony assault charge for literally not fucking touching someone? So it's just like, I don't know. It's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. And like it creates these conditions where it's like, well, if I'm going to get in trouble for the same offense, whether I actually hit you or not, then why would I not just hit you? Like, I don't know. It's not a felony just because you fell on your knee. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. It's a constitutional issue. States aren't supposed to be able to initiate legal actions against the federal government or officers acting in accordance with their duties. It's called the Federal Supremacy Clause. But they're not acting in accordance with their duties. It's like, yeah, like I understand in the broadest sense that yes, the federal government has supremacy over the states. But like there is also an expectation that you follow the law. And there are also state laws. So like you still have jurisdiction within the state. Just like you being a federal agent doesn't make you fucking immune from violating state law and prosecution on that. I don't know. Like, I understand that it's basically like we're just trying to prevent them from cracking down even harder. But like they are cracking down even. Have you noticed that the crackdowns have been escalating even though we have been peacefully protesting and we're out here in the frog suits and stuff? Like, so again, I'm just saying like at a certain point, they're escalating anyway. I don't know. I don't fucking go to protests, so I'm not going to act like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I think it comes down to keeping us from actual civil war. Once one group of federal forces is taking action against another, lines will have to be drawn and we accelerate towards more violence, IMO. Yeah, and again, one side is escalating the violence, even though the other side is not participating in violence. Like one side is being nonviolent, and one side is continually escalating the violence. I don't know. I'm not a fucking political analyst. It looks like ICBP is now doing door-to-door raids in Minneapolis purely based on race or if you were at the protests. Well, just got to educate people on their rights, you know. Get a Ring camera, or maybe not a Ring camera because I know that those have issues with security and stuff, but get a door cam if you can. Or a peephole or something so that you don't have to open your door in order to talk to them. Excuse me. Jenna, welcome to the website, says, in France we have a saying, which translates to save a brother, film a pig. That's fun. I told you guys about the family I know who moved to France. they seem to be doing very well. The children seem like they're much more relaxed, and it really is making me super jealous. I'm like, could you go? Could I actually breathe a sigh of relief if I moved to another country? Like, again, I don't fucking want to, but like, I don't feel any safer. Like, yeah, I got certain things moving out of Kansas and moving to Oregon. Like, I've definitely gotten certain things out of that, but I don't feel significantly safer. Minnesota's federal budget has been gutted to the point that there isn't much more that can be cut. So I think there's a chance the state can use our well-regulated militia against a domestic threat without fear of the state falling apart due to loss of funding. So the funding part is really interesting. Did I hear that SNAP is currently suspended in the state of Minnesota? Like, so the government is punishing the state of Minnesota by saying, we are not going to let you do SNAP. We're going to starve your people out. This is siege tactics. You realize that? Like, that's a siege. If you're like, we're going to cut off your supply lines and make it so that you cannot eat, that is called a siege. So everybody who's like, we have to prevent a civil war, like, what the fuck do you mean? I truly don't understand the definition of words if being under siege by an occupying army does not already qualify. Like, I don't know what the definition of a civil war is, I guess. Fuzzy says it's worse. The federal obstruction of justice statute applies whether or not the officer identifies themselves or if you could reasonably have known that they were an officer. The fact that Jonathan Ross appears to have violated department policy multiple times is probably why Minnesota will charge him. It increases the likelihood of the court ruling that he wasn't acting under the authority of the federal government and therefore no supremacy clause issues. Yeah, that's... The problem is that by now he's no longer in the jurisdiction. Like, that's probably most likely he has moved. They've moved him to another location by now. Snap is paused. Okay. Hi, Blind Cyclops. I thought so. Welcome to the website, by the way, those of you who are hanging out over here. I try to give a similar amount of attention to the YouTube and site chat. Don't feel like I'm ignoring you. Like, there's just a lot of commentary, and then I have my own responses. So sometimes, like, while I'm talking, I'll miss. I can't read while I talk at the same time. I will lose what I'm trying to say. Quantum says, sorry, homies, it's already a civil war. Robert Evans even told me so last night, and that dude wrote the book on American Civil War, too. I don't know who that is. Robert Evans? Civil War. After the Revolution is a 2022 novel by journalist and podcaster Robert Evans, set in North America 2070, roughly 20 years after a Second World War. Or Second Civil War, sorry. And he lives in Portland. Okay. He hosts Behind the Bastards. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm glad that I'm not the only person who's like, I already moved from a conservative part of the United States to a liberal part of the United States, and I don't want to fucking leave. Like, I don't want to. Even if they moved him, warrants issued by state courts are honored by other states, so at least for now, he can be extradited back to Minnesota for the trial. Okay. That was my goal. My goal was to move from a conservative part of the U.S. to a liberal part of the U.S. to make sure that there was somewhere within the U.S. to go for people and to secure part of our people, at least. But it just sucks to be like, I don't feel any safer. To be like, I am going to like the fact that I feel like I need to maintain my training, like the fact that I feel bad that I'm rusty with my training and my arms and stuff, like I don't want to fucking deal with this. This is annoying. And it makes me glad that I already limit how much I go out. But that sucks to be like, that I feel like, oh, it's a good thing that I do a pickup order at Walmart instead of me walking around the store because I need to limit the total amount of time that I'm outside my house. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. The Robert Evans, his podcast, It Could Happen Here, also started with a very detailed breakdown of how a second civil war could start. Yeah. Yeah, River Meets the Sea says, wouldn't it be more humane and cheaper to give undocumented immigrants a pathway to citizenship, if nonviolent, than doing whatever the fuck ICE is doing? Yeah, well, but that's not the point, right? Like, I could make the conservative argument, as a matter of fact, that immigrants are good for our economy. That, I mean, you could even go so far as to be extra shitty about it and say, well, immigrants don't even have the same workplace protections, so you can exploit them and pay them less than minimum wage, which is great for business. Which, of course, I wouldn't advocate for that, but I'm just, like, you can even make a fucked up version of a conservative argument. But the non-fucked up version is that immigration is good for our economy, that they commit less crime than our citizens do, that they pay their taxes and perform an essential role in our communities by doing jobs that for the most part are undesirable. And thus, like, they are functionally, especially undocumented immigrants, an underclass that supports our consumerist lifestyle. Jenna says, in France, we are at the point where the moderates, because they have kept following the neoliberalism capitalism, have put the status quo's head on the proverbial chopping block. Thing is, we have a lot of fascists. On the other side, we have finally a party that has a modicum of radicality on the left, and for which a victory in the next elections is not out of reach. Cool. Nice. I am hopeful for your country. I moved overseas 13 years ago and I lived in a blue city at the time. The writing was on the wall and I was tired of not having the workers' rights and universal health care I now enjoy in England. But as usual, when the US sneezes, the world catches a cold, so our far-right flag shaggers are probably going to win the next election. Yikes. Yeah, I am so sorry. Didn't I just see something about how Trump was going to denaturalize citizens who are already naturalized? Like, and does that mean, like, yeah, they want to denaturalize up to 200 American citizens per month, according to an NPR article from December 24. So, like, you can have already so somebody asked earlier that isn't it better to just make it so that these people can become citizens easily? Well, yes, but they want to take people who have gone through the process legally, and this does not even include the fact that we already know that they have been arresting people who are at their immigration hearings. They are, like, on their way in to have a conversation, to meet with their lawyers, to do the thing correctly, to do it legally, and they're being arrested and deported. And so now they're talking about denaturalizing citizens, so people who have gone through the process. Am I reading this correctly? This is like people who have gone through the process of becoming a citizen here, as opposed to people who were born here. Or does this mean, like, can you be denaturalized if you were born here? No. Okay, I don't think so. Like, naturalized citizens, the whole point of that term is that those are people who were not originally citizens of the United States. ICE blocked people who were arriving for their actual citizenship ceremony, literally about to raise their right hand and take the oath. Mm-hmm. So it's not about doing it legally for them. That's not what it's about. It's about them just like not wanting to have those people in the country. If they get rid of birthright citizenship, though, that would open the door. Right, like, by what right are you a citizen? Most of you here, if you're in America, most of you here are likely citizens by birth. Like, you were born here. So what would happen? Like, how do you prove that you're a citizen? If they're like, well, you being born here doesn't matter. Or like, how can you earn citizenship if you being born here doesn't matter? Yeah. So, I mean, it's bad. um, and I did want to mention, so something else that we talked about the last time we streamed, and like, I probably should have done more due diligence about this, but we were seeing that there's conversation around some transgender creators allegedly being sent letters from the FBI. And I haven't really seen much evidence or corroboration that indicates that trans creators are in fact receiving those letters. I am not calling anyone dishonest, but I'm just saying that, like, if it were the case that people were receiving cease and desist letters or being told that they needed to delete their entire social media because their radical trans ideology or whatever, I have not seen what I would consider sufficient proof to like really believe that that's the case, or that we should be cautious around believing that that's the case, because it is a scary thing and we want to be accurate and proportional. If we're going to be scared, we want to make sure that it's justified to be scared. And I haven't really seen the kind of indications that I would hope for in order to be like, I can comfortably believe this and think that it's true, that it's happening. So many of you may have different opinions, but that's just me. All babies are now required by law to take an intensive written test to apply for citizenship. True. What do you think about the possibility that the 2024 election was rigged? So I am open to the idea that perhaps some nefarious things occurred, because I think that every accusation Republicans make is an admission. So the fact that they were like, OMG, he stole the election in 2020, blah, 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 blah. I could see that being a smoke and mirrors for them having tampered with the election results in 2024. However, so in order for something to be believable, it has to be possible, right? So like between the two options, either this country hates women and black people so much that people refused to vote for Kamala. Like, that is not an outrageous claim on its own. I don't think it's necessarily an outrageous claim to say that there was election tampering. It wouldn't even need to be everywhere. You would basically only really need to do it in fucking Pennsylvania. So if these two claims are relatively close to each other in believability, I would err on the side of it's better to believe the thing that requires less conspiratorial thinking. So it does not require conspiratorial thinking to say this country chose not to vote for a woman. This country chose not to vote for a black woman. This country chose not to vote for an Asian woman who only had fucking 3 months of campaigning, who was shoved down our throats. Like, we did not choose her in a primary. So there are a lot of reasons why people might have chosen not to vote for her. And I think that in general, we need to check ourselves, because there is a part of me that wants to be like, yeah, conspiracy theory, they stole the election, right? Like, there's definitely, it's appealing, right? It's appealing to go, they cheated. But there isn't evidence, and it is important to me to believe things that are true and have evidence for them. So I err more on the side of people were just not excited about Kamala's presidency. Do I think that's stupid? Of course. Of course I think that's stupid. Of course I think, like, dude, I think some of you who were in the chat for it probably were screaming the other night when Jovan and I were streaming together, and there was a queer person from Pennsylvania who said that they voted for the Green Party. And I was like, okay, well, if you don't have anything that I can yell at you about, then you need to leave. Like, I want to talk to someone else. And some of you in the chat were like, what do you mean? And I agree. I agree that someone in, I do think if you're in Pennsylvania, the only fucking state in the country, damn near, where your vote actually fucking matters, if you voted for the Green Party, I personally hate you. I personally think you are garbage, because in Kansas, where my vote doesn't fucking matter, I voted for Kamala Harris so that we could say, hey, look at this. We need more and more situations where the popular vote and the actual way that the election turns out don't match up, because we need more and more and more evidence. If they stole the election, we would need to prove that, like, okay, how many people do I know who voted for Kamala versus how many people do I know who voted for Trump, and then be able to look at that and go like, well, if the official numbers are different than what we're able to do exit polls and like talking to people and all this kind of stuff. I was on the opinion that I needed to be part of the popular vote. So I felt like my vote in Kansas doesn't fucking matter, and it literally doesn't. So if you're in Pennsylvania and you voted Green Party, I do think that you disproportionately, like more than anyone else in the country, hold responsibility for how fucked up the situation is. Because of the fact that people in Pennsylvania voted Green Party, like, we don't even need to say the election was stolen. We don't even need to look into the voting machines, because you're out here admitting that you fumbled hard. You fucked up. And I think some of you who were there for that Jovan stream were pretty annoyed with me that I didn't pursue that person, but I was kind of letting Jovan set the tone. And he was like, look, I'm not going to come after any queer person or any marginalized person for voting their conscience. And I was like, okay, I'll fucking drop it. But that was fucked up. And I don't remember that person's name or anything, but if I ever have an opportunity to talk to that person again, and it's not a situation where I'm letting Jovan kind of lead the conversation, like, I think that you personally fucked up. I think you personally should feel bad. I think you personally are, again, disproportionately responsible for what happened. In Pennsylvania, are you fucking kidding me? In Pennsylvania. Yeah, I also left Kansas, lady. I moved. Actually, my anniversary of moving here is coming up in about a week. I'll be celebrating. The stream on Wednesday next week actually will be like, that's 1 year since we arrived in Oregon. So, because that last day of driving, we were in Idaho, and we came up through the gorge to get into Portland. So, and of course, that same day we arrived here at our actual place. And yeah, so in about a week and a half, I get to celebrate my 1 year of being free of Kansas. And it's been a terrible year. Like, I just want to be completely clear that, you know, wherever you are, you bring your problems with you, right? So even though I am no longer concerned about using public restrooms and potentially getting arrested, I brought all my problems with me. So it has been a genuinely terrible year, which sucks. It's unfortunate. I was hoping that some things would be different, and they're not, and that's extremely disappointing. So National Party votes aren't worth it. IMO in Pennsylvania? In Pennsylvania. This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't give a shit if you vote third party at the local level. You should vote third parties at the local level.
Drea has donated $50. Hearts.
Drea, thank you. $50 dono brings us up to, what is that, $94, $95, something like that. Oh my God, where am I? Oh no, it's 65. It's 65 right now. So that brings us over $100. $115. I'm so curious if my muscles are in any way impressive to you all, since I have not been working out my upper body. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. No worries. You've been quiet. It's a crazy world out here. Did someone earlier say that they came here from Threads? Are you still here, person who came here from Threads? I'm just curious. Can't believe it's been a year already. I know. Everybody keeps saying that. It's like, yeah, it's been a long fucking year for me. Anyway, you know what's interesting? I just have like some natural muscle. I got this, I inherited this from my mom. I'm just like naturally a little bit more muscular than a lot of people. Even though I don't do any workouts in my arms, but I'm trying to get back into it. I'm hoping to get back into it. Thanks everybody for being here. Yep, sun's out, guns out. Exactly. Of course, it's winter in Oregon, so the sun's not really out. But yep, I'm sorry for depriving you of the muscles for many, many months. We haven't done muscles in months and months and months. I'm so sorry. I know you're very sad, but we're making up for it. Anyway. Yeah, literally, yes, exactly, Fuzzy. Take it from someone who's lived in 6 cities on 2 continents. Wherever you go, there you are. Yeah, I said that to my partner, and I don't think he'd heard it before. When some Democrats say that the election was stolen, they're doing blue MAGA cope. Well, I mean, I do think it's reasonable to be curious about, like, if we have had concern in previous elections about, like, hacking, like, yeah, I do think it's reasonable to be like, were these machines hacked? But was there an investigation? Like, I think it would have probably looked bad for Kamala for her to beat that drum, to be like, we need an investigation. Like, it would not be very sportsmanlike, which is an unfortunate term, but an accurate term for how you should handle the losing of an election. Like, it would be unsportsmanlike for you to accuse the other party of cheating. And because Trump has already done that, of course, it would make her look more like Trump. The biggest reason I moved from Kansas is because they have no real good jobs. Yeah, I mean, of course, that part didn't make any difference to me. I'm self-employed anyway because I'm disabled. But I mean, I enjoy being self-employed regardless of the fact that I'm disabled. Now that I'm like, when I'm more functional, I'm like, yes, I love being able to work for myself because I'm not scrambling to be barely functional or whatever. But the fact that my job allows me to be barely functional for sometimes months at a time does make it easier because there's still a job waiting for me at the end of that. Like I'm, simply unsporting would mean the same thing if you find that preferable. So part of what I am criticizing about the idea of like that it's good or bad sportsmanship is because winning in an election shouldn't be like sports. Like it shouldn't be like a celebrity thing. I feel like it shouldn't be like sports. Like I think it's unfortunate that the same principles can apply in both situations. I don't know. Maybe I'm not communicating that very well. I don't believe the conspiracy theories about hacking, but Elon did break electioneering laws in swing states. No, that's totally true. They definitely did do that. Was California one of your choices? No. I've always been a person who wants to live in Washington or Oregon because I like the weather and I like that it's temperate. I might be getting to a point where winter is one of my favorite seasons because here winter just means it's the rainy season. It does get cold, but it doesn't get cold enough for me to be upset. Like, it's not like the air hurts your face levels of cold here. I mean, winter is not over, but like we haven't had. Has there been any snow in the valley? Like to my knowledge, there hasn't been any snow in the valley this year. This winter, I should say. But no, California, like there's like the fires and it's much more expensive and yeah. There's also a lot of fucking people in California and my goal, I guess, and I don't really know what my goal is anymore because frankly, I'm having a hard time imagining my future. Lots of reasons for that. It's like not even necessarily the politics stuff, but like my original idea for why I wanted to move here was that I wanted to buy some land and be able to like have some amount of self-sufficiency. Like if I want to have chickens or if I want to grow some food, if I want a greenhouse, if I want my own archery range, like if I want my own gun range or whatever, then have some land for that purpose. Like maybe even enough land that I could hunt and forage my own land. We're getting a little bit crazy at that point, but that was kind of the idea. And there's so much more space in Oregon because it has a lower population. And yeah, like I'm completely borked right now on having literally any ability to plan for my future. Hoping that will change soon, but yeah, that was the original goal. So did you see the trans woman that was urged by her local civil rights org to post online about her passport getting revoked and being on the no-fly list because of the terrorism classification? No, I didn't see that. Like, I keep hearing people say this stuff, like people saying, oh, they're starting to issue letters about the terrorism thing. It's like, I am sorry, but I need proof. Like, unfortunately, if you say the FBI sent me a letter, you can gain a lot of followers because people want to keep tabs on that situation. So, like, I followed someone who claimed that this was happening to them, and then immediately they were like, I'm no longer going to talk about this. It's like, okay, well, dude, literally, if you had just posted a screenshot of the return address part of if it said FBI or anything on the letterhead or anything, like, I would take that as a type of proof that it said what you said inside the letter. But the fact that there isn't even a picture of the letter itself or of the top of the letter or anything, like, I am struggling with the believability of all that. And maybe I'm an asshole for that reason, but sorry, this is what being a skeptic is. It makes me not able to be functional in society. Does this boost the algo? Yes. Anytime you interact with the screen at all, it helps the algorithm. So if you hit the like button, if you interact with my poll, if you type in the chat, if you click the share button and copy the link, even if you don't actually paste the link anywhere, it all helps. So thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody's engagement tonight. 100 people. We've had consistently over 100 people here. And just so you know, we don't always talk about politics here. Sometimes we just talk about like food or tea or my disabilities or what movies I've watched recently. So this is more, it's genuinely supposed to be more of an all-around stream. It's just that when politics are happening in an unavoidable manner, we do sit there and talk about them. Like we do, like there was no way for me to not talk about that woman being murdered last week. So our last stream was all about that woman being murdered. Sometimes when grand juries or other feds send you letters, you can't talk about it. Well, they were talking about it. See, this is the thing. It's like either you're talking about it or you're not. Are you like this user was like, I got sent a letter or the whatever, the FBI coming after me. Like, okay, so either you are doing something you're not supposed to be doing by talking about it, in which case you should just post the letterhead, or stop talking about it, because right now it looks like you're clout chasing. My sister and I last night had a hard talk about our action plan to finalize our exit plan. I'm getting rid of my 3D printing and stuff. Hitting me hard today. Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to Ireland, right? Yeah, that's tough. Pillbug Hugs, great name, says, hi, yeah, it's been rough out here considering refugee status myself. I did see that the Netherlands, so if a country were to say that the United States is no longer a safe country, that could cause the United States to retaliate by sanctions or something. So what I saw was that the Netherlands is simply getting rid of the list of safe countries right now. So instead of saying the United States is no longer a safe country, they're just temporarily deactivating the idea of the list of safe countries so that people could emigrate there. I don't actually know if that's the case. Yeah, it's a list of countries which, according to the Dutch government, nationals are presumed not to be at risk of persecution, torture, etc. So I don't actually, I'm not able to find corroboration on this right now, but I had heard that they were just temporarily suspending the list of safe countries so that more people could seek asylum in the Netherlands. Heading to Ireland if possible. However, if I am forced to move in the next few months, I may have problems since I only just started a new job. Yeah. Be careful about donating to me. Like, listen, guys, take care of yourselves. Like, I've had people comment recently, like, oh, I wish I could support you on Patreon. Take care of yourself. If you are thinking about fleeing the country, you do not need to send me money. I mean, I appreciate it. The more money I have, the more secure I am. And, like, right now my goal is to get healthcare and save up money, ideally. I'm not going to really be able to save up money because I don't know if healthcare stuff is going to cover my, like, couples therapy that we're about to start. So I might be, like, spending hundreds of dollars on that every month now. But I don't know. We'll fucking see. It's getting crazy this year. Yeah, Fuzzy says, here in the UK, each case is taken on its merits, but if your country is on the list of safe countries, then it's an automatic. Right. That's what my understanding was. Like in the Netherlands, they have a list of safe countries. So if you apply for asylum there, they basically fast track your case to a denial. Like it's basically an automatic denial if you're from one of those countries. So I heard that they were changing that. Oh, the list is a list of dangerous countries. Oh, okay. A list of dangerous countries where you get automatically approved? Okay. Where there are active wars or genocides occurring. Okay, cool. That makes sense. We're definitely not getting a warm welcome at the Winter Olympics. I genuinely don't understand how we're going to host the Olympics. Like, it just seems like it's going to be a pretty big flop. I'm not sure how it could not be a pretty big flop. The Netherlands did bring back dual citizenships a few years ago, so I'm currently undergoing that process. If losing citizenship somewhere else is a concern, then the Netherlands will allow you to hold two. How many countries don't allow you to hold two? We win every medal if we are the only teams competing. Yeah, I guess so. I trust you, Drea. I'm just saying, if you're trying to leave the country, that costs a lot of fucking money. It costs way more money than you think it does. And that's not even including taking all of your stuff.
Pilbfucks has donated $20. Shush, in the trans community we all share the $20 bill.
Yeah, we passed the $20 bill around. I forgot. I forgot. My bad. I do appreciate it. I make money from more than just donations, but obviously having the donations is a big part of it, and it helps a lot, and I appreciate it. It definitely makes my life easier. How about for every donation I get now over the $100 goal, because we already got it, I'll do another one. Okay. Every additional donation we get for the next hour, I'll do it again. I'll do it again! The U.S., Trump says that he indicated he wants to get rid of dual citizenships, and a bill was introduced in the House, but it probably won't pass. Yeah. They're just going to end up doing it through executive orders instead. Everyone gets $1 each. Fuzzy says, if that ends up happening, I'll just renounce my U.S. citizenship because I would rather keep my EU citizenship. Yeah. I mean, that would make sense to me. I would probably do the same. Because then you don't have to fucking pay American taxes anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for the $20 super chat from Lady Addis. Every donation for the rest of the stream gets another flex. You're welcome. Why do Americans call it a bill and not a note? I don't know. Why do you call it a fucking loo? I don't know, man. Like, why do you call it a loo and not a bathroom? I don't know. I was trying to think of what you guys call a trunk. What do you guys call the trunk of a car? It's something weird. You still have to pay United States taxes for some number of years after renouncing your citizenship. What? Are there unions for content creators? There used to be a creators guild that like Hank Green was part of, but I don't know if it still exists. The dopamine boost of people taking care of us is worth it, I think. Yeah. I do want to help other people too. The boot. The trunk is called the boot. Yeah, why do you call it the boot? What's wrong with you? You have to keep paying. Okay, so if you leave the United... Why? Oh my God. I hate the United States policies on taxes, because why the fuck am I gonna like renounce my citizenship and I can't vote in the United States anymore and I don't like it there and I don't want to live there anymore, and yet I still have to pay income taxes for 10 years? Girl. Better Than Ember says Lou is short for guard low, which meant look out below, for emptying chamber pots into the street. Adventure. I think that that's actually untrue. I think that the whole thing about emptying chamber pots into the street is false. Speaking of helping people, has anyone heard from Naomi recently? Nope. I have not heard from her recently. I haven't messaged her recently either, to be fair. But no, I haven't heard from her recently. And I don't know what her deal is. The last time I heard, she was talking to her social worker and getting on a wait list for housing and stuff. I haven't heard any details recently, though. So I've frankly been absorbed in my own issue stuff going on. So I haven't reached out the way I was hoping to. So yeah, no, I don't know what's going on with her right now. Google says that a car's boot is called that because it comes from the boot locker, which was a storage compartment on the back of horse-drawn carriages where the coachman kept his boots and other items. Okay. What a weird thing to call the car's tummy. The car's tummy. Oh, Nuvenal. It can be a lot going through the housing stabilization process. Yeah, honestly, like, and I don't want to talk shit on somebody who's going through it right now, but I felt like some of the advice that I was giving was like not really landing. So I was just kind of like, okay, well, I'm gonna trust that she is gonna navigate the process the way that she feels is appropriate. Like I tried to be like, hey, why don't we try to make you some friends so that you can have some people that can crash on your couch? And she was like, I don't want to make friends. And I was like, okay. It's like, okay. I just like at a certain point when a person is like, well, here's a reason why I can't do that. You're like, okay, well, I will entrust you to your social worker. Good luck with that. So. Getting my baby steps towards a passport. Yeah, I still haven't made any moves towards getting a passport. And like it's like probably partially like because I don't plan on leaving. Because I don't want to fucking leave. I don't plan on leaving. I don't need a passport because I don't want to fucking leave. My stubbornness, my obstinacy is perhaps going to get me in trouble at some point. But oh fucking well. Professional support is the most important kind of support. I would still be homeless if not for my caseworker and many social workers. Yeah. So, like, she's getting the professional help that she needs, hopefully. And if she's not receiving that, then, like, I can't help her receive that. So, just hope that she's not dead. I don't know if she is or not, and that's kind of a bummer. Owl says, after a quick Google, you pay for the last year of your citizenship, and depending on your financial situation, you might have an exit tax. Okay. Just having a passport gives me some peace of mind. If it comes to it, I can get the fuck out. Plus, it's another ID with my correct name and gender. Yeah, I do have at least one friend who lives in BC, so it could be worth it to just be able to visit with her. But, yeah, I don't know. Again, don't really want to leave. Don't really plan on leaving. I'm going to visit Seattle for the first time soon. Not Seattle proper. I'm going to be outside of Seattle, just visiting a friend in a few weeks here. So I'm excited. I will have managed to spend almost an entire year here before finally going to meet any of my friends who live in the Seattle area. The World Cup boycotts are growing due to Trump threatening Mexico. Good. Sanction the fuck out of us. Like, the only thing that's going to impact these people is their pocketbooks, so. I'm curious, why don't you want to leave the US? Well, because I've wanted to live in the Pacific Northwest since I can remember wanting anything. And now I live here, and it's beautiful, and I like it a lot, and I don't feel like it's right that I would have to upend my entire life for a second time to move to a new country where they might not even speak my language. Like, I don't like the idea that I'm being forced to do something I don't want to do. So, yeah. And I'm already roughly familiar with the procedures of how things work in my country. So I'm like, I know generally the procedure for how to buy a house. And I would have to relearn all of that stuff if I were to be in a different country. So again, it's like a stubborn obstinacy thing. Maybe I should be less stubborn, but I don't know. I'm just like, you can't make me rah 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 rah. Catch Mount Rainier on your way by. If it's near dawn or dusk, you could disprove flat Earth again. Yeah. I am excited to see more of the beautiful countryside. I was just talking to my buddy yesterday, like, I do want to eventually visit North California, even though I have never been to California before. Like the redwoods, the sequoias, like there's lots of really beautiful stuff around this part of the world. If I had planned ahead for it, I mean, I guess there is still plenty of winter left. I do want to do like go stay for a weekend in like a snowy cabin situation, which again, you don't have to go very far for it because we have mountain ranges all around here. So yeah, there's all kinds of beautiful country and the weather is nice here, and in the valley there aren't going to be as many wildfires as there are in other parts of the West Coast. Like for long-term stability reasons, climate-wise, this is just like a good part of the world to be in. Like I said, like some friends of mine moved to France, but France is going to continue getting hotter and hotter every summer in a way that is going to be harder and harder to live there. So it's like that, you're making that exchange of like, okay, you're in a safer country politically, but is it safe from climate impact in the future, you know? And yeah, the Robin points out, like, I don't want to move somewhere else and then just wonder how long it's going to take to make it there too, right? Yeah, like Jenna, who is in France, was saying earlier that there is a fascist party there. There's a fascist party rising in Italy. There's a fascist party rising in Germany. So even if you move to one of those places that's safer, there's only so much you can do if the entire Western world is seemingly orienting itself around fascism. Like, you just have to pick your battles. You have to pick your place and stake your claim and put the fucking foot down and say, I'm going to protect this part of the world to the best of my ability. So, hey, Oregon also is one of the states that, because of the entire eastern side of the state being pretty rural, like, there is a risk of Oregon going purple. And so I was like, I'm going to go there with my family and we're all going to vote blue to protect Oregon so that Oregon stays blue. And that's important to me as well, like to prevent places from slipping further and further right. And there are a lot of fucking idiots who live here. Like, I pay attention on social media to what people say, and there are rural people, there are Trump supporters, there are dumbasses who don't fucking understand that they get to have a higher standard of living because the taxes are so high, and just continually wanting to shoot themselves in the foot by reducing services through reducing taxes. And like, okay, so I'm just going to be a quiet force against that by voting for our interests. I was determined to stay until like yesterday. We aren't all built to handle what's being done to us. No, yeah. And like, I think I'm a very resilient person, and I don't blame anybody who is like, I'm too sensitive to be dealing with this. And I don't mean that disparagingly, but if there are people who are going like, oh no, I can't mentally handle the stress of all this, even if I unplug for a few days, the stress is ever present and I can't deal with it. Like, I respect that it's difficult for people and that some people are more, more in tune with the negative vibes. And so, I think that I am a don't look to me for an example of like how to be a person, because I'm definitely the survivorship bias. I will fully admit. I'm the plane that comes back, you know? So I don't want to make it seem like everybody should be doing what I'm doing. I think if you want to leave the country, you should. I think if you want to hunker down, I mean, I was going to say if you want to hunker down in a red state and try to make things better there, that I do. I'm a little bit like, what the fuck is wrong with you? If you're like, I'm going to stay in Texas, Arden, and I'm like, what are you doing? Get out of there. So I support people fleeing within the United States at the very minimum. And I support people leaving the country. I'm not going to pressure anybody. I think whatever you do, we need people in every place. There need to be people in red states. There need to be people in blue states. There need to be people leaving the country. You know, we all need to do something else. You know, we all need different things in our process of deconstruction. We all need different people in different positions of a revolution or of a change of regime or whatever. So I try not to criticize too much whatever choice people are making. What about the theory that middle of the country peeps care less about environmental things because they aren't near the ocean? Well, the problem with that theory is that there were like, beyond, are you still here? Weren't there like 500 tornadoes in the Midwest in 2024? Like an insane number of tornadoes. There are extreme storms in the Midwest, like extreme weather events. Obviously, it's not the same as a tsunami. It's not the same as a hurricane, but there are extreme weather events. And there's flooding, and there's also droughts in the summertime. I remember a couple years back reading that like thousands of cattle died over the summer because it was so hot and so dry. And we have already started, and we are going to continue losing viable agricultural land. And the window of time in which you can grow things is going to continue shrinking. So yeah, I mean, I think if you assert that people in the middle of the country don't need to care about the climate because climate change isn't impacting them, then you don't know anybody who lives there. Because there are extreme weather events, tornadoes, there are, like I said, like floods, fires. Fires are happening more often in Kansas. So if there was a zombie apocalypse, do you think it would unite Republicans and Democrats to fight the Nazis? You're just throwing another player onto the field at that point. And people aren't going to unite against the Nazis if there are zombies. Like we might unite against the zombies, but more likely there would be a bunch of Republicans who are like, this is fake news. It's not really happening. And a bunch of Democrats who are like, but I want to go to brunch still. It would be a shit show. Being from California and working in Oregon was a bit of a culture shock. I encountered a number of people who had their sidearms in plain sight. Yeah, well, I don't think you need a license to open carry in Oregon. You do need a license to concealed carry in Oregon, but I think you're allowed to open carry. I would need to double check on that. Yeah. What the Midwest has noticed is the lack of insects in the summer. Well, that's definitely noticeable for sure. Like fewer and fewer fireflies in the summer. It's rough. Oh, I meant to say zombies, not Nazis. Okay, hold on, wait. Okay. If there was a zombie apocalypse, do you think it would unite Republicans and Democrats to fight the zombies? No, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't think so. going to grab some water really quick, and then I'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. BRB. Ooh, we're almost at 200 likes today. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out and for hitting the like button. That makes me all fuzzy inside. Glory, glory, hallelujah, water is great. Faulty says, we have tornadoes, straight line winds, droughts that affect farmers who complain loudly about it, hotter summers, increased severity and frequency of flooding, less snowfall causing poor initial irrigation, etc. The Midwest, other than the jackasses who don't care about anything, truly care about the climate getting worse. In Minnesota, the stewardship of the lakes and fresh water is forefront in our minds as well, or at least for most of us. Yeah, the aquifer in Kansas is at risk of drying up in the future. And that's a big fucking problem. So, yeah, there's issues. Had kind of a bit of a breakdown when I was pregnant over the fact that my kid would never see a lot of the wildlife I grew up with. No mantis, no fireflies. Truly, like, one of the moments that really I struggled with when I was contemplating moving away from Kansas was we had been talking about buying a house, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to plant like native grasses and stuff around my house. You know, it's good to plant native. It's good for the environment. It's good for the soil, blah, blah, blah. It's good for the bees. It's good for the birds. And then I was just kind of driving around one day, and it occurred to me that if I buy a house in the Pacific Northwest and I want to plant natives, well, the native plants that I would be planting, they're not native there. Like or maybe some of them would be, but and that was a big like, ooh, I'm suddenly going to start crying while I'm trying to drive through traffic. It was tough. And the fact that there are no fireflies here. There's glowworms here, but there are no fireflies here. So I think I want to have an excuse to go back to Kansas during the summer sometime because I want to get to see fireflies again. They were such a big part of my childhood, and they're just so magical, and I'm going to be really sad if I never see fireflies in person ever again. It's going to be a bad time for me. Not gonna lie, climate change in the state of politics is pretty much the only relief to the fact that I had a miscarriage. I don't know what I would do if shit got worse with a baby here. Yeah. I still think it would be worth it to have a kid for me personally. Yeah, of course you're looking for the silver lining, you know, in a miscarriage situation. So it's like, well, at least I don't have to bring this child into this fucked up world. But it's also like a gift that we give to our children, that we try to make the world better for them, and that we hold those hopes for them. And we hope that we can raise them to be people who will continue to fight to make the world a better place. Glowworms are insane. I saw some in British Columbia and it blew my fucking mind that they glow. I've not seen them. I didn't look for any. I don't know where to find them. I don't know where they're actually at. I just know generally that there are glowworms, but not fireflies here. On a positive note, there were so many fireflies last year in the swamp near my house that they were kind of annoying. Good. That's a wonderful thing. I rarely mow the lawn, so fireflies have a chance in my yard. Yeah. I do struggle a little bit with it's hard to have a native yard without also having a yard that has a bunch of fucking ticks in it. Like there's no way to kill ticks without also killing other bugs that you do want to have in the ecosystem. So yeah, that is tricky. But there's fewer ticks up here. There's not 0 ticks up here, but there are fewer ticks up here. So it's a little bit less of a concern. But I really do, like, it feels like a fantasy. But if I could convince, like, my friend who moved up here with not with us, but he moved up here at the end of last year. He's the guy who we hang out with like every couple of weeks, comes over and hangs out. If we could convince him, and then if I could get like Jimmy to move up here, because I know Jimmy's on that fucking homestead train. If I could get like 5 or 6 people, and we could get like a really tightly written contract to parcel out or collectively own a chunk of land and have like a little neighborhood homestead situation with like a little bit of distance from one another, like a couple acres distance or something. That is kind of the dream. Have lots of chickens. They love eating ticks. Okay, cool. Yeah. We used to talk about that stuff a lot on this stream. It's like, ooh, should you keep rabbits or chickens, or do you have goats? Like, should you do sheep? Like, what, you know? I feel a little bit less compelled now to do a jack of all trades, a little bit of everything, because that was, I guess, the original idea. Was I was going like, ooh, how do I make sure that I have access to wax, for example? Like, well, I should have an apiary. I should have some bees, but there are like plenty of people up here who have apiaries, so I would just need to have something to trade for beeswax or honey or whatever. So I could pick something and focus in on that one thing. It's unlikely that a small garden can produce enough food to like actually support a family, but there are people who do small commercial farms here, and they sell a lot of produce at the farmers market. So in order to make sure that those resources are still available in the future, well, all I need to do is buy their shit at the farmers market and support their farms. My hair feels so flat today. Ugh. There we go. Like flip it over and it's temporarily got more volume until it calms back down. I went to bed with my hair wet last night and it just doesn't look cute. My partner and I want to raise wool rabbits on the land I'm inheriting. I'll be next door to my brothers. Hey, that's cool. Wool rabbits, that's fun. Alpacas, yeah. I want to get my hunting license this year, although I don't really have I don't have a weapon to hunt with at the moment. My bow is only a 25-pound bow, and I think in the state of Oregon, you need at least a 35-pound bow, or maybe even 45-pound. I need to double check that. So even if I'm doing squirrel hunting, I have to have a much stronger bow than I have right now, and I don't know that I'm strong enough to draw the heavier bow right now. I don't want a fucking compound bow. I just want a regular bow. My bow. Like I'm gesturing toward my bow, and it's right here. Just, yeah. Or I could get a little hunting rifle. I would kind of like to... I would like to get my hunting license this year, because I've never dressed an animal before, and I would like to know how to do that. I was gonna start with rabbits, but the one time I went out and tried to hunt rabbits, I didn't see any, which was a bummer. Hey, Ethereal, I'm glad that you're doing some things that are gonna make you happy. Congratulations. If you have enough people on your little commune, you can have the different people focus on a few items. Yeah, like, that's the good thing about having a group of people together. But even then, like, I don't necessarily need all of the resources on our commune, you know, or whatever you want to call it, our homestead. So, because, like, yeah, if you leave the city here, it's just like Kansas, where if you leave the city, you're immediately surrounded by farmland. Like, fucking everywhere here. As soon as you leave like the populated city areas, you're like farm, 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 botanical gardens, farm, 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 brewery, farm, farm, farm. Like they're fucking everywhere. So that made me feel like it's not necessary for me to have everything immediately accessible to me. You know, if I can just go down the street and there's somebody with an apple orchard, you know. I saw fireflies for the first time in 20 years this summer. I hadn't seen them since I was a teen, and then out of nowhere this year, there were multiple nights where I could see hundreds of them around my property. Their population seems to be bouncing back. Nice. And also keeping in mind that while certain parts of the country are too hot to sustain that kind of life, it's gradually moving up. Like, okay, I'm going to try to see if I can pull this up. I used to pull this up all the time. Okay, so just check this out right here. So currently, this is the United States map. The most suitable zone by temperature and precipitation is these blobs, right? So here's one big blob. This is the West Coast blob that I decided to move to. This blob, okay? So this is currently, I believe. And then as time goes on, it will shift upwards. The suitable zone will move northward by the year 2070. So as these places down here, this is no longer the suitable zone, right? We're having days above the wet bulb temperatures too often. So fireflies and other animals that are capable of migration, they will just move north to these places that are more suitable up north, right? That is, you know, the good thing about them being able to fly around and migrate and stuff. I would want to join you guys, but only if you name the place Stardew Valley. Sure. Hey, listen, this is a decent brand of bow. They're modular. So like, oops. So I can just unscrew this. And I could put on different arms, different limbs. So that's the cool thing about this is like, okay, yeah, let's say this is, I think this is, yeah. Oh, this is actually a 20-pound bow, so it's not even a 25-pound bow. So a 20-pound bow, I could just get new limbs, and they would be the same length and everything. So the whole bow is the same, except that the limbs are stronger, and then it has a bigger draw weight. So that's like one of the cool things about this brand and this type of modular bow. Monarch brand. That was a present my partner got for me for my birthday a few years ago, and honestly, this is probably one of the best birthday presents I've ever gotten in my entire life. Like, I added this. This is a piece of rabbit fur. I need to make it smaller, I think. I want to trim it up and make it shorter. And then I also added these pieces of leather to dampen the slapping sound. And like it reduces the overall vibration in the bow. That's what the fuzz does as well. You can buy commercial ones that it's like a little puff ball of yarn, but obviously I'm more interested in looking like a badass. So I want to use my bow more often. Fear the sting of the monarch, yeah. I haven't found a good place. It's like it costs money to go shoot your bow. Like, okay, so I already bought my bow and now I have to go pay money to go shoot my bow. Like, I really wish that there was a place that I could shoot that wouldn't require me to pay money. I've been practicing more with a sling instead of the bow. Much less of an issue to lose a nice sling stone than a carbon arrow. True. Maybe I just need to learn how to make my own arrows. It's like these are all things that I want to be doing on a regular basis. I want to be practicing with my bow on a regular basis. I want to be practicing with my gun on a regular basis. I have just been feeling so shitty that I can't do anything. So, yeah, now that I'm getting back into work on a regular basis, like I'm working GPS arrow, or you could okay, did you know that you can fish with a bow and arrow? You just attach fishing line to the back of your arrow, and then you can draw it back in after you shoot your fish. So I could just outfit my bow or outfit my arrows with that same function, and you can always retrieve your arrows then. But yeah, I only so far do target practicing. I've never shot my bow at something with the intent to kill whatever's on the other side yet. I've done bow and arrow fishing from a canoe. It's quite fun. It does seem like it would be a lot of fun. And I want to get at the very minimum, I want to get us some fishing licenses. My partner got me into fishing, and I think it's good meditative practice. I think I would like to get back into doing it. We've lived here for almost a year, and we haven't gone fishing that entire time. There's all kinds of hobbies that I would like to engage in more regularly. It's hard when you don't really get along with your partner like 80% of the time. So. That was an exaggeration, by the way. I don't actually know. How would you it's like, are you getting along if you're just kind of not talking to each other? I don't know. Anyway, regardless. Too much detail. That was too much detail. But yeah, lots of little skills like that I think are just fun to engage in. Like, I think the idea of bow hunting is fun. I think the idea of fishing is fun. I think the idea of going crabbing is fun. I do want to eat some crab, though. I don't know if it's in season right now. I think I need a bigger stock pot, which that's been true for a while. I want a bigger stock pot. Should I start taking some of these things and put them on my throne wish list? Like, somebody get me a bigger stock pot. I purchased for myself a really nice end grain cutting board because I needed a bigger cutting board, and it has like divots around the edge so that it can catch the liquid. So when I like butcher an entire chicken, but I butcher 3 chickens at once so that I can store the meat because there's 3 people. So it's like, if it's 3 chickens, then that's the correct number of chicken breast to not have like extra or whatever. So yeah, I did buy myself a nice cutting board, but I also need a bigger stock pot because I'm doing 3 chickens at the same time, and I want all 3 of the chicken carcasses to be able to fit in the stock pot all at once. Sounds like it's time for a crab rave. Crab rave! Crab rave! Don't we usually crab rave when somebody dies? Who are we celebrating? Deer targets help to learn how to bring them down with a bow, according to my right-wing coworkers that hunt all the time. I'm familiar with the procedure. I know where you're supposed to hit them. It's just about, the wild animal doesn't necessarily provide you with the proper angle, and you should not take your shot unless you are going to get the true, correct shot the first time. Make sure you know how to clean crab properly. You don't need a stock pot, you need a cauldron. That's fucking true! Someone buy me a cauldron. I currently have a cauldron that's this big. That's for my altar. I have a tiny little cauldron. It just has like flower petals in it right now. But yeah. Oh, that would be hot. A cauldron, that would be sexy. If I ever have a fire pit outside, which that's another reason why I would love to own some land, is because I would love to have my own fire pit. As it is currently, I think I've mentioned this even recently. I want to find somewhere that has day camping so that I can just go have a fire for like 3 hours. I just want to dick around with a fire for a few hours. And currently it's the wet season, so this is the time to do it, because in the summertime you're not allowed to. But if I had my own fire pit, I would absolutely put a cauldron out there and like cook over it. I forgot that I wanted these things. Legitimately, how long has it been? Any of you who have been here for a long time, how long has it been since I talked about any of this type of stuff? This entire year, I've been super depressed. It's like I have not even been able to think about what things I want in the future. And now I'm thinking about it again for the first time in literally fucking months. Cauldron dono goal. Yeah. Like a solid fucking cast iron cauldron. I would need a giant cauldron though to be able to fit like 3 chicken carcasses in it. You know, it would probably still benefit me to do a stock pot, just a big stock pot. I think since before you moved, homesteading has not been a topic for a while. Yeah. Can't recommend a cast iron Dutch oven enough. It's what I bake bread in. It's gone camping to make stews over the fire. Best cooking device ever. Yeah. Feels like since not long after you moved, these topics slowed down dramatically. Yeah. I think in the immediate aftermath of me moving up here, it was just like, well, that was a big fucking move. Let's kind of focus on shit that actually is more current and like right now issues. And then there was a period of time where I was like, well, you know, it seems like there's plenty of farms up here. Like maybe I don't even need to do a homestead because there's plenty of farms up here. I love finding rocks and making a sick fire pit. I feel so badass carrying my big rocks and arranging them all cutesy for the fire. I love the idea of those really pretty, like iron, I guess they're usually iron, big round things, and they're like solid toward the bottom, but then toward the top they might have like some kind of carving in them. Those fire pits are really cool. I think a homestead would be for future proofing. Yeah, that's the idea. Like I said, like having all of this self-sufficiency does feel like future proofing. And then for a little while I was like, well, do I even need to do, like I said, if there is a farm down the street, if there's an apiary down the street, if I can buy goat soap or goat cheese or whatever from somebody who already lives here and who already has that infrastructure in place, then maybe I feel less like I need to future proof. But ultimately it's like, what do I actually want out of my life long term? And I think that has just been less accessible to me. Like after such a big shift in my life and the fact that other stuff keeps happening and like I feel like things are starting to chill or maybe things are starting to get better and then something happens and I get set back again on that. Yeah. So maybe I'm just kind of starting to have the energy again to think of like, what do I actually want? Maybe I want the homestead, even if it is a little bit impractical. I don't know. Do I want a house in a suburban neighborhood? I don't fucking think so. Although I did have a dream last night of... I have had a couple of dreams that are really oriented around exploring a house. Sometimes it's not my house. Like, oh, we went to your granddad's house, or, you know, we went to visit your mom. But last night it was a house that I was moving into. And then it got kind of crazy toward the end, and it was like, oh, me and like a bunch of other YouTubers are collectively deciding to do this house. It was a giant house, like a huge house. Interestingly, toward the beginning of the dream, there was like the bathroom with the shower. And you know those big shower rooms with like, it's just like glass doors? Well, this one was like that, but it was like the whole room. And then also there were huge floor to ceiling windows. But it was like, it also had a bunch of like curtains and stuff. So it was like, you guys know those sheer curtains where you, during the daytime, if it's light outside, you can't see through them. So like you can see outside, but people can't see inside. It was like a giant shower bathroom with like these huge windows and like these curtains. And I was like, this is cool. This is pretty legitimate. One thing about the house I'm inheriting that sucks is there's no collections. The dump only takes so much, so you have to have a burn barrel for some card types and yard waste. That's interesting. Of course, I like the idea of composting where possible, especially if you already have a garden. A bunch of YouTubers in a house sounds quite horrible. Yeah, and I can't even remember who most of them were. Have you considered contacting Angela Parkrose Permaculture in Portland? No. I think I am subscribed for her on YouTube, but I don't like watching that kind of content in my free time. Like, she's very politically active, and if I'm on YouTube, I'm not here to do that. So I don't actually watch a lot of her stuff. I don't think that you can collab on live streams. I was just talking to Jimmy about that, Fuzzy, and he was saying the collaboration feature doesn't actually exist for live streams. It's only for videos. So, and then I don't know how it would work if, like, I tried to... I think the watch time only counts for whatever the primary channel is. So if I went to Musing Moss and I live streamed, you know, I wouldn't have the same algorithmic pickup where people here are like clicking in. Did you know that you can put your compost inside of your greenhouse? And because the process of composting produces heat, it can be a way to keep your greenhouse warm during the winter. And yeah, whatever can safely go into the wood furnace heats the house too. Yeah, there's another, yeah. So burning isn't necessarily a bad thing if it's not horribly toxic. Like I said, I want to have a fire pit, so having little scraps and shit to burn is cool. I know it's a little bit earlier than usual, but I am going to go ahead and get off of here a little bit early and just like chill a little bit. And then I'm producing for the Lion this evening. As you know, I usually produce the After Dark show, so I'm going to be producing for Forrest and Paul tonight. And then it's a regular old fucking week. It's a regular old week. And yeah, so hopefully you all are not as sad now as maybe you were before we started the stream. Maybe you can start thinking about some things that you want to do instead of feeling like your entire life is driven by necessity, which is kind of what it feels like to me a lot of the time. So yeah, I thank you everybody for hanging out. I thank you everybody for donating. And here's one more. All right. Yeah. I'll see you on Wednesday. Unless something crazy happens, then I won't see you on Wednesday. Suspense. Dun, dun, dun.